good evening everybody, bonjour, and welcome to Canada, I guess. Just a few things to clear up before we do get going this evening. My co-commentator, your race winner last week, is a little bit late. Hopefully he'll join us before the end of qualifying. It'll be a short qualifying session tonight, unlike the one shot we had last week at Monaco. And yeah, looking forward to an exciting race around the circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Now, I wish I had the... If I had the idea sooner, I could have done the track guide a bit like how 6 Pompano did it a few weeks ago. Unfortunately that won't be the case, but I'll try and do it when we're following a driver on their first qualifying run. I think we're about ready to get going. Just waiting on... Now, a lot of drivers not racing tonight. Just looking at the sign-up form, the drivers who've chosen not to participate tonight: Jax Daniels, which will be a key one in the championship; Sainsy, Meadows, The Sloth, KD Races, Project Ty, and Blunt Blade. So it looks like there's only going to be 11, maybe 12 of us. I'm going to say 11 looking at the fields, because I think that matches what I've got on my phone here. So as the timer ticks down to the start of qualifying, it is all the calm and quiet is now nearing an end for these drivers as they go into short qualifying. If you're unaware of the format in DRS League, but also in the F1 games, short qualifying, it's usually unlike the real life sessions where you get 3 sessions of about 18, 15 and 12 minutes. This is just one 18-minute session to decide the grid. Just waiting for the drivers to pick their tyre allocations and probably just to generally load into the game. Let me chuck on some Twitch chat. Let's see what you guys are saying in the comments. Oh, that's a little reminder for myself. Where are we? Just we can see some movement. It looks like it'll be an Aston. Nope, it's an Alpine. It's the first to come on track. Which one is it? It'll be Centra Finley, who's on... Oh, well, obviously it'll be brand new softs at this rate. Some more movement in the pit lane, but we're going to follow Finley for the time being. Actually, before we do, let's see. Yeah, there's a bit of a queue forming on the pit lane now. You can see Senna, what am I chatting? It's the Mercedes of Syme. Anyone else looking to come out the pits just yet? Smug getting the Ferrari. Easy Life in the Aston Martin. Michael in the V-Carb. Let's go back to Finley as he'll be slowly coming up to the end of his first flying lap. Don't worry about the map being red at the moment. It's just obviously out lap. It doesn't really mean anything. No, the fact he's invalidated an out lap, it doesn't really mean much. At least not this stage. through the chicane with the wall of death on the out. Not the wall of death, they call it the wall of champions, sorry. Anyways, he starts the lap. Let's go on board with the Alpine driver through turn 1, 2. It's a very long way to go uphill, power on, and then into the first of many chicanes on this circuit. Nicely done from the Alpine there. And then into the next set of S corners in the way. Then onto the DRS straight here. The rear flap should be wide open, yes it is. As we go under the bridge into the next set of S corners, it looks very... Oh, he's invalidated, never mind. But we'll continue to commentate as if it was a flying lap. He's coming up to the hairpin here now. Wow, a many move. You can either make the move here, or you can wait a couple more seconds, get onto the very long DRS straight running up to that wall of champion chicane. And just while I have a few moments, I'm just going to pop the thing there. As we see, Senna's just at the first lap of everyone. This a 9.671. It's a yellow flag on that final straight, but I think it's just for someone going a bit slowly. Finley's invalidated again. King Kong is also invalid. I think Simon's going for a second run after invalidating his first run. Looks pretty good through the first set of S's there. As you see, Frosty's getting closer to 10.1, but ooh, there's a bit of a slide for Syme there. It's probably those worn tyres, he'd have to do a second run. Probably going to keep his footing because he needs a banker lap. Nicely done there. Right up to the white line, don't touch the grass. There's a yellow flag out in sector 2 again, and probably be people getting out the way. Is that a spot of rain I saw? Oh, it is, it's raining! Unbelievable! So this might be the... Unless you get your lap in quick, this might be the grid. So let's follow the Mercedes AMG as it comes up to the final chicane. Right, left, a little bit of curve on the exit if you're brave. Where's this going to put the Mercedes driver? It's going to put him third with a 10.7. And I think that's it, because look at that rain on the onboard there. This is getting a bit sketchy now. Let's go back on to... Let's look at Daniel Morris, because he was looking pretty good at Monaco last week. And it seems like we've still got DRS for the time beings. But yeah, looking at that rain, unless it's just a fast and shower, I think this is going to be your race order once everyone's done their lap. It's a yellow flag. I think that'll be for Al Newt slowing down in the middle sector. It looks like yes. Daniel Morris up to 7th. Let's go back to Finley. I saw a sideways Ferrari then. Finley goes up to 10th. I don't know what happened to DRS Smudgett there. we were just clipping through the cameras to get back to Finley, and we just see a sideways Ferrari. That was something. So Michael, he's basically gonna have to one and done this. If it seems that he did a run, went to the pit, realised it started raining, so thought, right, I need to get some new sets on, otherwise this will be me done. I've never seen that before as damage, that where the kind of little fins come off the front wing, but the actual main structure is still there. Like, I've seen the end plates come off. I've seen Senna going for another run. Alright. I mean, but I might be risky going for a... Oh, yeah, we can see Michael struggling for grip out the hairpin. But at the end of the day, I think he's gonna need to just get yes, there's probably not going to be much grip left, but it's just going to have to try and get a lap, because... Oh, just look at it. Yep, that can't be nice to drive in. I feel quite blessed to be in the kind of virtual dry commentary booth right now, because that just does not look lovely to drive in. It's there he goes, he spins, he saves it, probably just a tap at the wall with the rear end, but no major damage. Sign as I take it retired in the pits, yes. What's his sent? Yep, sent it straight back in, he knows it's not worth. I think Michael's just going to complete the lap anyway, just so there's something on the board, but it doesn't look like it's going to be a competitive lap, I don't think. And that might just cutting the chicane there. Yeah, I think this might be your grid done and dusted, ladies and gentlemen. It wasn't the session I was expecting, but oh well. You can't have everything, you know. No man, there's some people trying to give. Yep, a few people gonna give the intermediates a go. Whether this will just be some race practice. But yeah, that was. It might as well have been one-shot qualifying, because it only lasted about 1, maybe 2 laps before the rain come in. And yep, DRS has been disabled by the race control, and I'd say that's quite a smart decision looking at the conditions now. Now you're probably not going to see any time improvements from these guys on the intermediates, but it's good little practice for if there are any wet stints planned for the race. I know, obviously, Canada, northern part of America, can be quite unpredictable when I say northern part, you know, North America, those in the continent. It can be quite unpredictable for the weather. You know, Canada is quite a good example. It's either heavily snowing or it's fairly mild, I guess. It can get warm, but I wouldn't say it gets like too crazy warm like it does a bit further south in places like Florida and Texas. Well, just while, you know, these guys are having their little practice, I guess, with intermediates, let me bring you guys up to date on where we are in the calendar. It is round 6, as you can see on the title. Obviously, in a way, it's round 5 of the points counting races, because we're not classifying the second round Baku as a championship result. So next weekend on the next week on the 17th of November, we will have a 100% race at Barcelona. Then it'll be back to North America at Las Vegas. This will be a 50%, just like we have tonight. Shanghai 100% the week after. Losail 50. Yasmiri 100 with a Spielberg finale on the 22nd of December, just a couple days before Christmas. So hopefully, maybe for one of these drivers I'm about to mention here, it could be a very Merry Christmas coming from the DRS League, or it could be or for some it could just be, what the fuck? I don't know if you guys heard that too, but I had a I'm having some weird shit in my room. 1 second. I do apologise for that. Right, I will be back in a moment because I can hear a random beep coming from my room. I think I know what it is, but I'm going to go sort it out for 1 moment, just while there's kind of a bit of quiet on the track. Oh, well, I'll stick you guys onto Senna for the time being, to see how he gets on with his inter-practice. Oh my god, look how wet it's getting now. I'll be back in a moment. Okay, we are back, and oh my days, look at the lack of grip. Senna was clipping the wall there because of the slightly unfavourable conditions at the moment. Obviously these guys probably probably initially put on a dry based setup. Obviously I'm not aware of the forecast unless it's been published somewhere, and I've not looked at it. And so yeah, this is going to be an interesting watching these guys trying to do laps with a dry setup into tyre. Anyway, as I was going to do before I was rudely interrupted by random things going off in my house, let me bring you guys up to date with the driver's standings. Senna has a 9-point lead over Frosty and Jax Daniels. Frosty and Jax Daniels locked on 68 points. Obviously Jax Daniels not racing with us tonight, so there's going to be a clear difference between P1, 2 and 3 by the end of the evening. In 4th place, DRS Sim, who is 51 points behind Senna. That is absolutely mental. And then our reserve driver, who should be co-commentating with me in a few moments, Six Pompano, will be 1 point behind in 5th, thanks to their win last week. Quite dominant fashion as well. Dan Moore is 6th, Lord Coleman 7th, Swanton, who's now no longer racing with us at the moment, in 8th, Bluntblade 9th, KD Races rounds out the top 10. Let me just drop into the team standings real quick. There's a 2-point difference between Sauber and Williams. Obviously no Saubers in the field tonight, so this might mean that we'll see Williams take a clear advantage at the top of the championship. As we see, everyone has retired from the session, so I'm going to be very, very quick with this. Haas are 12 points behind in 3rd. I'll do the Pro and Pro-Am division points in a few moments after we've had a qualifying rundown. So, after setting a very, very blistering time when it was still dry, Senna is on top with a 109.671. Frosty racing about half a second behind in 2nd. Then we've got DRS Sim, Alan Newt, King Kong, Lord Coleman, Daniel Morris, DRS Smug Git, Easy Life, Centra Finley, and Michael JFF, who got caught out, probably with a few invalid laps, and then it just started raining by the time he had a chance to actually set a banker lap. So, just while we have a few moments for the drivers waiting on the grid to do the strategies and waiting on the call to ready up, we will dip into pro standings. There is currently a 7-point gap between Senna, Jack Daniels, and then 2 points behind Jack Daniels on 68 is Frosty Racing. DRS time 45 point. No, I'm getting my maths mixed up there. DRS time on 32 points in 4th, and then Low Common on 29 in 5th. And then very quickly onto the Pro-Ams. Dan Morris takes a decent lead into this race, a 17 points ahead of Michael JFF at the moment, with Sainsy not too far behind in 3rd with 19. Central Finley with 30 points behind Dan Morris, and Project Ty, who is not with us tonight, on 31, rounding out the top 5. Right, let's take a look at what everyone's deciding to start on the hard tyres. Come on, give me some strategy action, lads. Thank you, Senna, for taking the mediums as I said that. That's is that considered an accidental partridge? Yep, there's people starting to go on to mediums now, where Smug getting easy life following Senna. That could be more perfectly timed if you. I literally could have told them boys to do it as soon as I said it, and it would not have been as perfectly timed. So, oh well. Let's see what else we can bring up before we have the formation lap. I'm going to take a little sip of my beverage of choice tonight, which is Pepsi Max. We are not sponsored, so don't worry. Just to remind you, other brands of soft drinks are available. I think before we start, I'm going to chuck on a jumper as well, because I can feel myself getting a little cold. So hopefully these boys don't start the formation lap while I do that. And the formation lap gets underway as I put my headset back on. Let me just adjust a couple things just so we don't have any interruptions. And excuse me. So let's have a look through the field. Let's see what tyres we're gonna see. Ooh, I'd say that is fairly split between the mediums and the hards. Mediums seem to be the dominating tyre for the possible first stint we're going to have here. As we see, the top 3 have pulled a bit of a gap here. So hopefully they don't end up waiting on the grid too long and letting the heat they've just gained all disappear. and I've been informed while I was putting my jumper on, I will be riding solo this evening. My co-commentator can no longer make it. It's unfortunate, but things happen, I guess. Hopefully we'll still see him again next week at Barcelona, was it? I don't know, I ain't gonna look at the moment because we are lining back up on the grid. You see the Visa Cash App Racing Bull of Michael JFF lining up at the back. Let's move back to the front and let's go racing. We seem to have skipped the light apparently. Up there it goes. And away we go. It seems to be Senna who's got the best getaway at the moment. He's got clear advantage as we go into turn 1. A few people side by side. It looks like Simon and Newt. Newt has picked up P3 by doing that little outside to inside. And looks like Coleman's got ahead of King Kong as well in the middle of all that. We see a little bit of a strategy thing. I ain't going to read it out because it never stays up long enough. And there's a big contact. Daniel Morris and it looked like King Kong. King Kong has gone fully around. But gets going and it seems to be minimal damage. And as we can see, the top two are already trying to check out a bit ahead of the Red Bull of Al Newt. But as up the inside goes the Racing Bull, gets the move done on the Aston Martin of Easy Life. And it seems to he's retaken the position from the looks of things. Michael had a little look into the chicane, but obviously no, I wouldn't recommend a move there. Senna sets the fastest lap, but that's because he is the first across the line. So we might see a representative fastest lap in a few moments. At the end of this lap, even should say. All seems well. Michael is now taking his penalty of the track limits. Senna has already gained over a second ahead of Frosty. This is absolutely mental. And he's going to be possibly safe down the DRS. Yeah, he's going to be safe past the DRS detection. So, yeah, it looks like it's early advantage is going to the Williams. But as I've learned in my very short time as a commentator here, never say never. As you see a few moves going on in the field, it's like it's Coleman and Syme going side by side through the wall of champions. Syme will have to back out, I think. Coleman had the DRS anyway. I do apologise, I thought I was going to yawn for a second. Let's have a little look through the field. The red for Ferrari. He's already got. I don't know what's happened to Smug Git there. It doesn't seem to be the best of starts for the Ferrari. Let's have a look at positions gained. That's the wrong one. Oh no, he's stayed where he is, so just a bit off the pace of Finley, possibly. Let's move back up the field because the Red Bull of Al Newt is getting close to the rear end of the horse. Let's put that tyre information back on for you guys. So you can follow along at home where the strategies will end up going later in the race. Not close enough for a move into the chicane, but again, very, very risky. And Senna is just checking out early, I guess. That's probably the best way I can describe what's happening. Let's look at this Simon Coleman battle again. It seems to be starting to involve the McLaren of Daniel Morris. So It seems to be very close field as Easy Life gets their first penalty of the race. And yep, Al Newt has made the move into the hairpin. That is an interesting place to pass. And he will have the DRS to pull ahead of the Haas down the back straight here. And yep, he will have the double dosage of DRS as well. Which, I'm not a big fan of the double DRS zones, but at the end of the day, I suppose it's safety. As Smugget makes an early exit off the medium tyres, I'll keep an eye on what he goes on to. He goes on to the hard tyres. We're going to keep an eye on this battle for a second, as it looks like Newt had a bit of a slide through the kind of first S corner there. He has managed to pull that safe margin of over a second. Let's move back down a bit. As we can see, Finley's now joined this battle between. It was for 4th, but it seems to be for 5th now. Symes slipping down to 7th after what happened, and sounded like someone locked up into the hairpin there. Bit of tyre squealing as he looks to the inside, nothing comes of it. Let's go on board with the Alpine actually. He's going to maybe look for moving to turn 1 here. He's not close, not alongside enough. He's going to have to possibly either think of another DRS opportunity or see what the McLaren can do. As King Kong picks up their first penalty of the Grand Prix as well. A bit of a rough start for them. They had a good qualifying as the VCAP goes around in front of him. Let's see, yep, Michael has managed to recover it just about. Has lost a still has a bit of a safe gap behind him to Easy Life. I don't know what's happened to them. Possibly a mistake or a run on somewhere. Anyway, back to this kind of leading group. It's what's happened to Al News, because they were 2nd, now they're down to 4th. There's something's happened there. I was focused on Michael kind of spinning out, and then I don't know what has happened. So this is now the battle for 3rd, and it goes down to about 7th place. This is kind of racing at its finest in a way. That as the Red Bull goes round, he's managed to save it. But he's going to drop all the way to the back of the train with next to Syme. That was really unfortunate for the Red Bull there. He's not having a good few laps at the moment. I'm losing 2nd and then dropping to the back of this kind of little DRS train. Kind of been broken up because of what's happened. Never mind, it's now become the battle for 4th as Daniel Morris has kind of dropped off the back of Lord Coleman. Senna has pulled a 5-second gap in all of that. That is wow. Oh, and use into the wall of champions. Is there any damage? Don't seem like there is. But that was very, very close. And I don't know why I've got a blade of grass on the heli camera, but there you go. And look how close that Alpine is. As they go under the bridge, through the chicane, up to the DRS detection for the long straight ahead. Round the hairpin. It seems to be that, yeah, Finley will have DRS, but I don't think he's close enough for a move. It seems like the gap is kind of staying where it is at the front end. Still about 5 seconds in it. As Simon and Newt both pit at the same time. Let's see, both of them onto the hard tyres. So looks like it's only Daniel Morris, Frosty and Senna who have stayed on the mediums out of our original starters on our original medium starters. This seems to be, yeah, this is probably the closest battle. Never mind, Lord Coleman has gone to the back of Frosty fairly quickly. Let's have a look at that battle. As we see them side by side in the background, looks like Finley's managed to get Daniel Morris. We've unfortunately missed, well, we just caught the end of the move. I think that must have been a mistake for Daniel Morris, because it's quite rare to see a move kind of like that. Is Senna now into the pit lane to try and get off those medium tyres. We're going to have a look. What does he get onto? Hard tyres. Nice tidy stop from the Atlassian Williams crew. He will possibly come out. There's Daniel Morris pitted at the same time, I just realised as well. So Frosty, the only medium runner left in the field. And it looks like Daniel Morris is going to come just ahead of DRS Sime. Ooh, excuse me. But this battle at the front, this is for the provisional lead at the moment. I feel like Coleman might have the advantage with the harder tyre. As he gets very close on the brakes there. Frosty a little bit wide mid-corner. But Coleman's going to have some lovely DRS. Probably a little bit of battery too, I'd imagine. Pulls alongside. They've gone out of frame. Coleman gets ahead and Frosty into the pit lane. A bit of a lock-up as he tries to get down to the pit lane speed limit. There we go. And moved. It's now Alpine 1-2 at the front. The pink-nosed cars are not doing too bad here, as King Kong gets another penalty. Frosty, yep, onto the hards too. So everyone who started on that medium tyre has now ditched it after about 10 laps. So what does that mean for the boys who are on hard tyres at the moment? I don't know. Are they going to try and extend these to about lap 15 and then maybe do a 10 lap stint on the mediums, or are we going to see some shenanigans potentially with a safety car? I mean, looking at how close the walls are, yes, you got a bit of runoff, but the walls are quite dangerous. You know, let's look at Senna now as he comes up to the rear end of King Kong. Al Newt has picked up their first penalty. They've dropped down to 10th now. What's a real unfortunate race for the Red Bull. They looked to start as well, but it's just not gone the way they wanted it to. And Senna up to P3 in the. I was referring to all that. And now he's going to hunt down the 3.5-ish seconds to the back of Central Finley. I've just realised there's only 4 people who are still on their original starting tyre. That is something, I guess. And a few people come into misfortune, and obviously the medium guys are not having the longevity they expected. But yeah, that is... I was surprised with how many that started on the hard. I'm quite surprised there's so few still on it. Now, what happens for these Alpines here? Nope, Finley into the pits. He gets a speeding penalty. That's really unfortunate. And King Kong also boxes just behind him, promotes Senna up to second. Now Senna has 3.5 seconds to chase down behind Lord Coleman, but I'd assume Lord Coleman would pit before Senna gets anywhere near. Let's have a... Now that is absolutely crazy. Senna pitted a lap sooner than Frosty and has managed to gain nearly 3 seconds just through pit stops. That is... absolutely crazy. Crazy stuff, and obviously it's going to do his championship very well if he gets a good result here. You know, if with the Sauber of Jack Daniels not participating this evening, there's going to be at least 25 points potentially going to Senna or Frosty. And that's 25 points. At this kind of stage in the season, it's quite hard to come back and get 25 points without a bit of luck. So, yeah. We'll see how that goes over the remaining 6 rounds of the championship. As Senna now on the back of the Alpine. I'd have thought that Coleman would have pitted sooner, but maybe he's trying to do my idea of going as long as he can with the hard. Senna makes a fairly easy move there. And yeah, he's just gonna... we're gonna move down to the 4th place for the moment. Maybe back down to 6th, because seems to be a few battles starting to show up. Smug gets guys way behind the Daniel Morris McLaren. Also, Simon Finley are quite close together on circuit as well. We're going to monitor both of them battles. It's kind of disappeared between Smug and Daniel Morris. But Finley having a little look up the inside of the Mercedes. It's not coming off this time, but is there an opportunity to turn 1 if he gets the exit? Doesn't look like. So it's going to be another lap chasing for Finley here. But look, the Smug Git on a 10-lap old set of hard tyres. He did pit early, remember. So he's probably going to be starting to feel it with them hards. And this is not going to help Finley, as looks like Simon will be in DRS range of Smug Git's Ferrari. And if you are not aware, the double DRS effect is not ideal, because you do not have the extra speed advantage compared to the car ahead. Now that, as we see, Coleman finally pits onto some medium tyres. as Syme looks, well, kind of the inside of the little kink on the start finish straight, but it's been very risky because if he wasn't clear, they've been going round the outside and round into turn 1. Coleman drops to 8th after his pit stop. So he's probably going to have to rely on these hard tyres being subject to some careful driving over the final 20 laps or so. Daniel Morris gets a 3-second time penalty. That'll be for track limits, I'd assume. Very easy to do with how kind of open some of the inside of the corners are. Smugget and Finley having a nice little battle in the back there. Let's go on board with the Alpine. And again, he's just stuck in that DRS. He just can't do anything when there's a cut in the bit of a train there. And I can see at the top there, Senna is nearly 10 seconds. Well, he's over 9, but the rate he's gaining, he's bound to break 10 seconds over Frosty. Possibly won't be the dominant race we saw last week's. You know, last week was just unbelievable from Six Pompano with the nearly lapping the field except for Senna, his kind of teammate for the evening. And this is just going to be hurting Finley's race now. Smugget's kind of opened the door there at the hairpin, but obviously a bit too late to get a move done. But you look, they're side by side, but they're both going to have DRS in it right here. But looks like the Alpine might just have a bit of an advantage. It's got the nose ahead. They're side by side. It looks like Smugget's had to cut the chicane. I'd seen someone got a penalty, but I didn't see who it was at the time. Now let's give some of these guys at the back, they're having a little battle there, let's give them a little bit of attention. Easy Life and Michael, they're both having a bit of an unfortunate race. I don't know what happened to Easy Life early on. They had dropped a couple seconds quite early, and Michael had a bit of a spin. And is he gonna have a move? He was gonna have a look there, maybe into turn 3 or turn 4. I can never tell with this track. Oh, it was a bit of contact, was it? Or was it just kind of possibly a little tap on the rear just to say, hello, I'm here? Is he? Ooh, that was a bit of an interesting line from Michael. With the nearly 5 lap, well, over 5 lap newer tyres. Into the hairpin. Again, there's a bit of a wide mid-corner from Easy Life. Seems to be the line of choice this evening, I don't know why. I suppose you want to, in a way, you kind of can veer off the corner. You know, you can enter wide, kind of take the, and the Aston Martin comes into the pits, gets off those 11 lap old hard tyres. Let's move back to this Finley. Oh, Finley is now onto the rear of Syme once again. And no one in the way to give the double DRS effect. So it should be a straight battle between these two. Now I wonder, I didn't even tweet, well, I just tweeted that there's possibly going to be at least one more stint for these guys, if they're only averaging about 10 laps out of these tyres. I think we're going to... If they've got two sets of mediums there, I don't see... If they've got two sets of mediums or two sets of hards, possibly. I don't know if you can use the softs. Softs probably won't last long enough to really make use of them. I'll take a quick drink just as Finley gets a good run down with the DRS. Gets past Syme into the chicane, but he's left himself a bit vulnerable for not only the hairpin, but also the longer DRS straight in a few moments. And you can just about see there the other pink and blue Alpine of Lord Coleman. He's using them medium tyres to his advantage. Slightly softer compound than the hards, and obviously much newer than both of the cars ahead. As Finley gets another time penalty, it looked like Syme hit the wall of champions as well. Is there any... Don't know if there's any damage, but there's definitely someone made contact with the wall. And let's look at this for maybe P2. Daniel Morris on the rear of Frosty's Haas. They're both kind of level with in terms of tyres. Both on the same compound, relatively similar age. Maybe the lap newness to Frosty might give him an advantage, but where's Daniel Morris found all this from? So go down this kind of little back straight here. Don't look like there's a move going to be on, but let's look at this. Let's go to this P4 battle. Syme not close enough either. I can still see it's still going. Oh no! Ooh, what's happened here? Simon's managed to get back through on Finley. I missed that. As Finley had a bit of a slow run through the wall of champion chicane. Again, who knows? I was too busy focusing on this battle for P2. And as I said earlier, or kind of predicted in a way, Senna over 10 seconds ahead of these two. This is becoming quite a bit of dominance from the Williams driver. As we come back towards the hairpin at the southern end of the southernmost end of the track. Now Frosty kind of all the way to the left. He's going to probably go all the way to the... Nope, he's going to stay like a consistent right line. I thought he was going to go to the right a bit to try and break some DRS, but... Or to break the slipstream. Down the start finish straight to complete another lap. We are well over halfway even. I was saying we're over at the halfway point. No, we're well over halfway now. We're halfway nearly 5 laps ago. As Smuggate comes in to get some new medium tyres on. And it seems Coleman has managed to... Well, let's take a look at this battle for... Well, was 4th now, it'll be 5th I think, between these two Alpine drivers. Coleman's probably wants to make this move quick because his tyre advantage won't last long. He's got the age and compound difference as he nearly... Well, goes quite hot into the hairpin, but doesn't seem to lose much time doing it. Daniel Morris gets close. There's a yellow flag in... Oh, as Daniel Morris into the pit lane. What's happened to... Seems to... Yep, Michael seems to have come to a bit of an incident in Sector 2 there. There's a couple of drivers, Coleman into the pit as well. That's Daniel Morris onto some yep, both drivers onto mediums, which would be interesting because if you guys remember that first stint, Senna pitted before lap 10. These guys are having to try and make possibly 10-11 laps. They're going to have to be really conservative with these tyres, or aiming to do maybe a 3-stop with a shorter soft stint at the end. Who knows? That is the absolute beauty of Formula 1 and, well, even motorsport in a way with strategy. And because I've kind of neglected you guys for a little bit, I'm going to take a little dive into Twitch chat. Let's see who's about, who's chatting. As we see, Frosty now boxes out a second. Finley will take P2 for the time being. King Kong into third. Oop. And I forgot that the game, well, parties don't like to be on for more than so long without people joining. Because I just started chatting absolutely all sorts to the whole race lobby, which is fun. So we're gonna... I just noticed Newt has taken them hard tyres to 16 laps at the moment. Obviously trying to recover whatever they can out of this race. It's started well, it just all went a bit downhill. Unsure how, unsure why. But it looks like, oh, there's a bit of a little wing-to-wing contact between Coleman and Syme there. Kind of Newt acting like a bit of a roadblock with them really old hard tyres. As Coleman makes the move, there's the Red Bull has boxed and looks like, yes it has. King Kong also boxes out of third. And oh, I just realised, yeah, Senna's boxed onto some new hard tyres. That probably is the call right now. It's like hards is probably the only thing that will give you enough grip. And probably has the best conservation to get you through the last 10 laps or so. As you see, yellow sector 3, it looks like it's easy life. No damage I can see, so probably just spun, I assume. Either spun or... As we see Finley into the pits. It looks like Daniel Morris managed to undercut Frosty in all that action in a way. Now this will be interesting. Frosty has the medium tyres on. He is roughly... Oh, he's just picks up a 3-second penalty, as I was just about to mention how he probably needs to gain about 7 seconds in the next few laps to have a chance against Senna for the win, but that was really unlucky for the Haas. And now oh, excuse me. King Kong and Finley seems to be the closest battle on circuit at the moment. We're going to watch that for a few moments, just whilst everybody adjusts to their new tyres. Now, this will be interesting. Senna, the only driver on hard tyres to finish this race, or looking to go to the end at least. We're probably going to expect a pit stop for Easy Life, but they'd have to get onto the softs this late in, probably. It's a bit of... Just keep looking ahead as Senna's just extending that gap more and more. I haven't really looked at the Williams much in this race, mostly because no one else has been able to look at it either. As it goes on to lap 29, we only have about 7 left at the end of this one. Now, normally one might consider this quite a dominant drive, but I think after what we saw last week, it's impressive, don't get me wrong, but I think we used all the kind of superlatives and fancy words last week when we saw Six Pompano absolutely demolish the field last week. Possible lap traffic, but I don't... maybe ahead, but I don't think it'll become too much of an issue for Senna. As Newt gets another 3-second penalty. Let's take a little penalty update at the moment. Excuse me again. We got Daniel Morris, Frosty, Coleman, Finley and Michael on 3 seconds. King Kong on 6, Newt and Easy Life on 9 seconds. And as you can see, Senna, Syme and Smug the only ones who have not annoyed the stewards enough for a penalty. Or at least in terms of track limits. Have a look through the field. It seems to be King Kong has managed to get through on Finley while I've been watching Senna for the last few minutes and rambling away. I wonder if that kind of lap difference in tyre wear could be the difference by the end. As now there's basically almost 2 abreast going, yeah, they're side by side onto the main straight. Well, it's not really the main straight, it's the back straight. As we see News just propping up behind them, slowly getting there. Finley back ahead into 7th. And it's still the closest battle on circuit I can see for the time being. I wonder if King Kong will have anything to respond to Finley's pass with. It doesn't look like he's already losing tenths and tenths. He's still just about as DRS, but I don't think it's going to last very long looking at the way Finley has opened up the gap. Newt gets another penalty just in the background there. Michael into the pit lane onto some softs as well as Easy Life. They've kind of avoided the as Lord Coleman gets another 3-second time penalty as well. I do apologise. Easy Life now gets another 3-second time penalty. And let's have a little bit of a look. Doesn't look like anyone else is in a position to, apart from maybe the back three there, I don't think there's anything. I don't think there's any advantage to getting on soft tyres for anyone else in the field. Let's have a look at, I haven't really focused on them much. Let's have a look at, as we see Newt warming up the soft tyre. One thing I haven't looked at in a long time is fastest lap. Fastest lap is currently held by Smug Git with a 12.322. Next nearest looks like it's Frosty with a 12.458. Coleman gets another time penalty. I don't know what's happened to the Alpine driver there. They're either struggling for grip or it's just the nature of the circuit. It's just not nice for track limits. Yellow flag sector 2, it looks like Newt maybe. They're going slow, or at least they were looking like, the sector was lighting up. I have no idea what the Red Bull is doing here. I don't know if they've picked up damage or... no damage. I've taken it waiting for Senna to give him a little bit of a tow for a possible hot lap opportunity. Well, good attempt, but you gotta bear in mind there's no DRS until you won't get a chance at DRS until he's into the second sector. And I think looking at the pace set, he's already pulled 10 seconds again. Oh my days! But yeah. By the time Senna's got... by the time you get to that second sector... Oh, he's actually sticking with him, fair play. I thought Senna would have dropped the Red Bull by now, but... what do I know? I'm just a commentator. So this could be slightly genius from Newt if they think they've got the pace to make the fastest lap. Let's actually stick that fastest lap thing up there. He's made the move on Senna, kind of ghosting through. Obviously that'll be tyre difference with compound and life. Into the World of Champions. Senna will be starting his final lap now. And Newt's probably just about, 11.364. That is nearly bang on a second quicker than what Smug Git set earlier. The yellow flag at the hairpin. No idea what's happened. I think it's probably Easy Life getting out of the way of the faster cars behind them. Let's follow the leader on the final lap here. What a race, I guess. I've not really spoken much about the Williams driver at moments when they've been pitting or early on, but it's not put a foot wrong really. And it seems like the championship leader is going to have a healthy advantage into the next round. I'm not clever enough to work out some live points, but as always I will give you a points update before the start of the next race next week. Well, here he comes into the World Championship chicane for the final time. And it'll be Senna 17 who wins the Canadian round. I don't know enough French to say congratulations, so I'll just say well done. Daniel Morris takes second place, and we should be awaiting Frosty across the line. Now, Michael I don't know what Michael's doing there. Simon fourth. Coleman just coming off the final corner there in the background. You can see Smudgett as well coming off the final corner. As you can see, the final few crossing the line. Last one across the line, King Kong. Yep, oh, that was the Pirelli Grand Prix du Canada. As we see our top three on the podium there, holding that trophy up high for the team and the world to see. Let's take a little jump ahead to the results screen there. As you can see, and on the screen now is your results. Senna, what a performance, 16.3 second gap. I know there's a bit of help with the penalties to Daniel Morris in second there, Frosty third, Simon Smudgett round out the top 5, Coleman, Finley, King Kong, Al Newt, Michael round out the top 10, and the points, Easy Life in 11th. And obviously fastest lap went to Al Newt with that quite clever run with the soft tyre in the dying stages of the race there. So yeah, that was, and yeah, there you go. Canadian Grand Prix over and done with. We're officially past the halfway point in the season. Whether that be in point scoring rounds or in general on the calendar. I'm going to make a swift exit this evening. I haven't got anyone to interview really. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. I guess merci beaucoup. I think that's how you say thank you very much in French. I haven't touched this. I haven't touched French since I was in school. So with that, on that note, thank you for watching. Hopefully we'll see you next week. I think it was Barcelona next week, I believe. And hopefully you will join us again for more DRS F1 action. So from me, DJ Davasaurus, it's been a great honour to be your commentator for the evening, and I shall see you